Taika Waititi? Oh my god. Whether that was the director, Taika Waititi. Hey you beautiful people. With arguably the biggest cinematic event coming out in April, Avengers Endgame, I thought it was about time I do some videos on the MCU. So without further ado, here's the top 10 MCU characters by yours truly. Nick Fury is definitely a secondary character that is worthy of being on this list. First of all, he's the guy who tries to recruit everybody. Seeing him turn up at the end of Iron Man after seeing credits was a slight jaw-dropping moment. You knew something bigger was happening, something was coming, and you know, we are now 20 movies on. In the car chase scene within Winter Soldier, it just shows that he is smart, he's tactical and resilient. It was nice to see him come up in Age of Ultron, and it was like, oh yeah. It's interesting the fact that Nick Fury in the comics before 2012 was like a white character and previously played by the Hoff. When Samuel L. Jackson comes on screen and he just has this presence about him that you just sit there and you take notice of everything he's going to say. And I think that really comes out when he's there messing around with Loki, who's trapped, and he's like, and boot. He gets the Avengers together, manipulates them basically by using Coulson's death, but with that the Avengers would never have got together anyway, so yay for Fury. When the trailers came out for the original Guardians film, I was not excited at all. And a part of it was seeing a talking raccoon. I was just not invested. With some of the lines that Bradley Cooper delivers throughout the films as Rocket, they're just amazing. Now we're all standing up like idiots. Rocket only improves after time. I think the point where I really enjoyed Rocket was in the Avengers Infinity War, where he's actually realised he has to sit down and talk to Thor, where it's a different side to Rocket. He becomes a sympathetic ear. On top of his obsession with him trying to get people's arms, legs, eyeballs, Rocket's just a cute character with actually a lot of backstory. A horrible moment in the first one where you realise that Rocket has gone through some traumatic time, where you see kind of his spine. Killmonger. He came and changed how villains are seen in the MCU. Before Thanos, there was this generic copy and paste villain that the MCU quite hadn't grasped. Killmonger probably has most of the coolest looks, the coolest lines. I remember watching it at the end of the film and I was like, oh damn, he did not just say that. I think it really says a lot when the villain comes out more better than the actual titled character hero. I think he stole the show a little bit. Understanding his motivations, understanding his background story and what he's trying to do. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish he had succeeded. I absolutely love Falcon. I feel a bit sorry for him how he's not known as Cap's best friend. He definitely has one of the best little backstories. He needs to be explored more. When we meet him, he's running like a workshop for ex-military soldiers and trying to talk about the issues and problems, which, you know, is something relatable within the modern day. He's also part of the skit, which is something I do on a daily basis living around in London. Cap and him are running, and Cap's like, on your left. And I can't tell you how many times when I go overtake people with my earphones on your left, they have no idea what I'm chatting, they just think I'm some crazy person. There's one negative which probably would make him make sure he's not higher on this list, and that's the fact that Red Wing not actually a bird, because that takes away some of his powers. So if you know in the comics, Falcon actually talks to birds. With his cool look and the fact that he interacts with AntMan, he takes down Spider-Man eventually, and his banter with Bucky, he's a very underrated character. That's a proper like one little moment where Cap is kissing Agent Carter and him and Winter Soldier in the back of the car, and they kind of give him this look where they're like, yo. As most guys on nights out and they see their friend kind of with a female, let's say, you definitely give them that look. That's happened many times before. Not to me obviously, because I'm usually Cap with the girl, not the guy's looking. My main man from WWE, Batista. Yes, I love him and I think he's amazing in the MCU. It's really funny finding out that he improvs most of his stuff and he's just given that free range and he's actually that hilarious. Like the whole part where he's really still and he eats little treats. Improv. Drax is, I like to think, a character I kind of resonate with a little bit headstrong, doesn't really listen to the leader, just kind of does what he wants. Results might not always be the best, but he definitely has a heart in the right place. What can we say about Loki? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? But he just flips and flops in between, and I think unfortunately towards the end of where we are now within the MCU, from Thor Ragnarok, it kind of tails off. I was absolutely gutted to see him getting killed off in Avengers Infinity War, but I understand it gives Thanos this kind of grand opening. The stakes are more raised, the fact that Thanos kills the best bad guy that the Avengers have faced so far. Loki has somewhat kind of convoluted and complex plans, which your avid viewer who might not be as invested might not understand. I guess one of the negatives of Loki is he had, what, 2, 3 kind of fake deaths and kept coming back, which kind of got a bit tiresome after watching a fair few films, but still, Loki is probably the best villain in the first 10, 15 films. Puny God, oh my god, do not imitate. I absolutely love AntMan, and I think he's hilarious, and I think he's great in his own films, but I think he's better in other films that he's a part character. For instance, Civil War. Now, the whole airport scene within Civil War where he turns tiny as well as becoming Giant Man, I think he steals the show. He steals that scene, which is arguably the best scene of that film. When it first came out, I was a bit annoyed that Scott Lang, the second incarnation of Ant-Man, was going to be portrayed in the MCU. I was ready for Hank Pym. Some of Ant-Man's lines are just hilarious. And he improv that part where he shakes Cap's hand and he kind of touches him and he's like, whoa, you're Captain America. That's pure Paul Rudd being 100%. With Ant-Man being a kind of heist movie, a different genre within the MCU, I think is really positive. The whole Thomas the Tank Engine scene, the little Thomas, it's perfect. It's really hard to put Ant-Man forth. Thor has an interesting story arc from start to finish, and I'm really happy to hear that Chris Hemsworth isn't quite finished with the character. He was my favourite after the first Avengers, and actually the whole of the first phase of the MCU. Thor takes down some Chitauri worms just with like thunder and lightning, and it's just amazing. Being funny as well as being good looking. As the MCU progressed, Thor definitely grew as a character. His comedic chops comes out more in Thor Ragnarok. Whether that was the director, Thor's an interesting character because unfortunately he does lose everything. His mother dies in 2, his dad dies in 3, his world, his people, they all get destroyed, and yeah, Thor somehow still brings it back. He has probably my favourite moment through the whole entire series. 20 films are built up. That's where Thor comes down and just crashes to the floor, and the score is hitting, and it is amazing. Like, hair goosebumps. Oh, it is fantastic. The next 2. Oh, where am I going to put them? As the MCU is getting started and you read who the cast of every characters are, I remember reading that Chris Evans was going to be Captain America, the guy from Fantastic Four film, and I was livid. Thankfully, I am wrong. Completely and utterly wrong, and I'll happily admit, I don't usually admit I'm wrong, but this is one time. Captain America has the best 3 films, the best trilogy overall over everybody, which includes Iron Man and Thor and the Avengers. It's interesting going back to the first Avengers, first outing, and seeing how it's aged very, very well. On first viewing, it was not the best, and it was just a bit like, oh, come on, when I get to some good stuff. But actually the first half of the film, where he's the scrawny kid and he's still a good human and he's just trying to get into the battle somehow, it's actually very, very, very good character development, especially from now where we are. Cap has some of the best lines in the MCU. One of them is the standoff with Tony Stark. Well, how are you planning on beating them? And Cap's like, together. We'll lose together too. And it's just his pure brilliance that kind of gels the team together. I understand he has conflicting views with Iron Man all the way through. If you watch the whole MCU, which like I've done many a times, he has the moral compass, and he'll be forever be probably my favourite. Not only that, Cap has some of the saddest moments, like where he realises he doesn't get to go have his first dance with Peggy Carter. Cap has arguably the best film of the whole MCU. Spy, espionage aspect of it, it was just something completely new, something that was not expected whatsoever. Right from the first kind of 20 seconds of the film where Cap's on the ship and he kicks the soldier right off the boat, and you're just like, wow, this is a new Cap. This is something we've not seen yet. This is going to be a bit more brutal. Not many things make me flustered, and especially within film, unless I was like 15 and sex scene comes on and you're with your family, it's like a bit awkward. But within Civil War, I'm still getting a bit now. The moment where Cap grabs onto the helicopter with one hand and the landing pad with the other, and he pulls, and it's just in the cinema, and I was blushing. I'm gonna be so sad if Cap dies in Endgame. You heard it here first. I didn't cry. There's so much more I could probably say about Captain America and why I love him, but I think they're the main point. My number one, Groot. Just what can I say about him? And I'm talking like original adult Groot, before James Gunn destroyed my hopes and dreams and said that baby Groot, the sap that grew, is a completely different Groot. And but within that first Guardians of the Galaxy film, he says 5 words, 3 of them repeatedly, and he says so much just with the simplest of speech. He is a hero, and self-sacrifice, which is the biggest win you can have in a film. The fact we don't actually know what he's saying, but yet we can interpret what he's saying, is just perfect. And his kind of grin when he kills loads of guards with using his hands. He turns to the camera, and yeah, from then I just fell in love. And I remember watching the trailer for Guardians and I was like, there's just a tree and no. Groot's a little bit silly, a little bit playful, kind, caring, strong, a little bit dumb. Do you need any more reasons why I kind of resonate with this character more than anyone else within the MCU? He's a talking tree, and it still works. Within Avengers, and he lands and he talks to my other favourite. It's just amazing. It's a moment I didn't realise until my friend pointed out. This is my friend Tree. I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. It's just amazing. It's perfect. The amazing moment is where Groot grows a flower and gives it to a little girl and shows that there's still hope within the world. That for me shows more of a character than most of what the rest of the Guardians kind of do within the film. He saves Drax. He saves everybody by turning into a kind of human hedge barrier. That's probably not the best description. And I'll admit, even though he got a little bit oversaturated and a little bit annoying, Baby Groot was amazing too. He's so adorable. I love Groot because he's just so pure and kind and funny and misunderstood. I wish I could understand why I loved Groot so much. But he's just so, grr, I am Groot. So, that's my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Did I miss anybody out? I bet you are probably gonna say Iron Man. Hit me up in the comments below and keep well and enjoy your teas. Thor takes down like worms. What are they called? His comedic... Pardon me. No, I'm not bothered. Hair-raising goosebumps. What am I saying? It's interesting going back and looking at the first Avenger, his first outgoing. His first outing. And I'm definitely not going to bring back up. First outgoing was his blonde eyebrows, which he had to get dyed, which I believe is one of his actual regrets. No. What am I doing there? Goose tinkly.